ESPN, the magazine, joins us. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
I'm good. Yeah, you got to bend the bill on those hats. I guess I'm old school. You got to. I tell Pastrana that all the time. No matter who his sponsor's always been, he wears that flat bill hat. I'm like, dude, I just want to grab that hat off your head and bend that sucker.
Yeah, but that's the
not to sound old. That's how the kids do it these days.
That's right. That's the demographic they're looking for when they bring Pastrana into the mix. Well, they want those flat brim guys.
That's right. No, it's but you know they're young and cool, and I guess I'm not anymore. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, if that's the way it goes, I'll be old and uncool. So we're gonna.
Steve just gets bothered when they wear their hat when they don't put it on straight. He's okay with the flat brim, but if they don't put that bill on where it's right straight on, Fernando Rodney still bothers him. So.
It's a lot. You know, you guys know I go out and cover the College World Series every year. And for years in the old ballpark, there was a great card store across the street, Stadium View Sports Cards, and they had a sign on the door that said, "We reserve the right to bend the bill of your cap if you come in looking like a dork." That's my kind of place right there.
Yeah, well, we're going to get our college baseball talk out of the way, and then we'll talk racing for what's left. We want to know, being the Tiger fans we are, Drew Smyly has gotten off to a great start for the Tigers, and I know that you followed him when he was in college. Did you think when you saw him play in college that he had the makings of a great pitcher?
I thought he had the makings of a good pitcher. I don't think I had any idea he would be that good. You have to be careful with college pitchers because, you know, so many of the great pitchers get snapped up before they even get to college. Right. Those pros that come in and take them right out of high school. But he's a real deal, and I'm excited for him. He was always a good kid, and I love following those guys out of Omaha and seeing them become, you know, good big league pitchers, and he's certainly in the category right now.
Yeah, he looks pretty good so far, so we're keeping our fingers crossed up here in Tiger Town.
That's right.
We're going to continue with the kid discussions. You wrote an article about Chase Elliott, and along with that is Ryan Blaney and the whole group of these children that are coming through who have great potential. And from what we've seen with Chase Elliott, this kid looks like he could be the real deal. But talk about this group that's coming up. Could this be the next wave, the group that gets me excited about racing again?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think a lot of race fans are looking for somebody young they can pull for, but also a lot of people want somebody they can relate to and a last name they know. And Ryan Blaney is the real deal. And if anybody didn't think that, you know, they certainly saw it on Friday night. And in the case of Chase Elliott and Corey LaJoie and Brandon McReynolds, I mean, all these kids, Coleman Presley, Robert Presley's son, they've all kind of come up together. And you could throw even the Dillon brothers in there. They raced against these guys when they were kids, and they're legit. And it's funny, too, because, you know, Chase is still, he's 16 years old, but in the case of like Brandon McReynolds, first time I saw Brandon race in Bandoleros was almost 10 years ago. He was 7, 8 years old, and it's the coolest thing watching these kids come up, and they really do. They act like they kind of went to school together, because they all played together at the racetrack when they were toddlers, and now they've all kind of come up through the ranks together, and it's going to be very cool to watch all of them kind of arrive, you know, within a 2 or 3 year span, you know, here coming up. But they're legit at this stage. If you still have a ride and you're still doing well in the K&N Pro Series or in trucks or in Nationwide, you got to be good. I mean, your granddaddy can't just buy you a ride at this point. It's like, you know, Ty Dillon always says, and Austin always says it. Once I get in the car, I got to do it myself. You know, my granddaddy's not going to drive the car for me. So I like all these kids.
I think that's one of the big things that you see, especially when you talk about the Dillons, is the fact that they have shown that they have the talent to take care of the good equipment. You've seen people before that have bought their way into good equipment, but once they get behind the wheel of it, they don't have a clue in Hades as what the hell they're going to do with it. But Wallace, those two kids know what they're doing.
Wallace. Yeah, and
Wallace, he's choking. Charlie's over here choking Stephen Wallace. So.
Yeah. Okay, easy now. But you're right. But I tell you what, Stephen's a great example, though. You can only get so far. Mm-hmm. And you've got to produce at some point, especially, I think, on the kids with last names. I think there's more pressure on them than anybody else. But, you know, Dale Jr. talks about this all the time. You know, his dad made him earn the ride that he got in. And Chase Elliott talked to me about it in the ESPN.com story. his dad put him to work and still puts him to work. And the cool thing is that these dads are all making these kids go to school. Richard Childress's deal with Ty and Austin is you can race as long as you keep working toward your college degree. And both those kids are in class during the week and racing on the weekend. And in Chase Elliott's case, he's a sophomore in high school.
Right.
And he's going to class during the week and doing his homework, in the bus on the way home, from the racetrack. So these guys that didn't get a chance to get their college degrees, they're making sure that their kids are doing it while they're also, earning their way on the racetrack.
Well, the other thing I want to talk to you about is the resurgence of Rockingham. The Truck Series went back there. From all looks of things, it looked like they had a good crowd. They had a good fan base. Everybody was talking about it. And I know that you have a soft spot in your heart for Rockingham as well.
Yep. Well, I'm from there. I mean, I'm unapologetically talk about it all the time. I was born, grew up in the house 5 minutes from the racetrack. My grandmother and grandparents and all that still lived there. It really was an unbelievable day. And I'll tell you, the coolest thing was standing out on the grid, and they had the trucks parked out on the front stretch. And they did the national anthem, and, the guy parachutes in with the flag and the whole thing. And Ward Burton was standing there because his son, Jeb, was in the truck race. Mm-hmm. And Ward looks over at me, and he goes, "This feels like 1998." And it did. It was cool. And I think right now, a lot of NASCAR fans, they want a little old school mixed in with their new school, and Rockingham's the place to do it. And I think certainly the trucks are going to come back, and I think they got a shot at a nationwide race next year too.
Well, I think there are an awful lot of people who are kind of looking for that retro NASCAR feel. I don't think you're going to end up with, the true experience. I don't know that the Cup Series will ever end up back at Rockingham, but you look at some of the races that are happening at places, and I hate to pick on Auto Club Speedway all the time, but I'll do it anyhow. You go out there, and it's just like, who cares? It's like, you're so far away from the mainstream of NASCAR, and the people out there don't seem to really give a damn whether or not, NASCAR comes there or not. It feels to me like if you come back to your roots a bit again, maybe you will rekindle some of the excitements that is there.
No, I think you're right, and I think that was Steve O'Donnell, who's now vice president of racing operations for NASCAR. He's an old school guy. He's a short track guy, and they kind of let him kind of put the schedule together, and so. He was the one that made the call to go back to Rockingham, and I've talked to Steve about it a lot. He's a great guy. He's on Twitter and interacts with fans directly all the time. And one of the things that he talks about is not just these racetracks and taking care of these old school racetracks, but also these kids that are coming up. I mean, you talk about going out to ASA and ARCA races at Rockingham over the years, seeing Chase Elliott and Brandon McReynolds win at a place like Rockingham. I mean, if you're a race fan, it's hard not to get fired up about that.
Right.
And so, and I think we're going to see a little more of that, certainly a lot more of that mixed in. But yeah, I mean, what frustrates me about California is, for those of us that went out there in '97 when they ran the first Cup race, '96, '97, whatever it was so much excitement, and the place was packed, and it just somewhere along the line they managed to fumble that away, and it drives me crazy because the potential of that place was through the roof, but. They've managed to squander it. I don't think they'll ever get it back.
We're talking with Ryan McGee from ESPN, the magazine. I got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, Ryan, and I wanted to ask you, along that same lines, do you feel that Indianapolis has kind of lost some of that as well when everybody was talking about going to Indy and racing in Indy, and it was really exciting to be able to put stock cars there and all that, but that has turned into kind of a ho-hum event as well?
Yeah, I think that what's hurt at the Brickyard is, two things. I think, number one, the racing just isn't very good. And it never was. I mean, everybody remembers that they're kind of cursed up there because the first race had such a great finish with Ernie Irvin and Jeff Gordon. They kind of always paid the price for that because that race that day was terrible. Right. But the last 10 laps were great. Mm-hmm. And that's what people remember. And so I think that unfortunately the racing isn't that great there, but I still believe that the place has never recovered from that tire debacle we had. I guess it was in 08 or in 09. And it's just, I think that they lost momentum that day, and it just so happened that was at the same time as that Formula One disaster that they had there. So I just think they lost a lot of momentum with anybody that wasn't just an IndyCar fan, and they haven't been able to recapture that. And I hate it. Now, to the drivers and the teams, it's still crazy special, but for the fans, it's just kind of lost some of its love.
Yep. All right, Ryan McGee, you can read his stuff at ESPN, the magazine. Thanks so much, Ryan. We appreciate it as always. We'll talk with you in a few weeks.
Anytime, guys. Thanks.
All right, Ryan McGee.
Good deal. All right, well,
good guy.
Another one of the great guys that we have come on here.
We have terrific guests.
We do. Well, that's pretty much going to.
If we could ever upgrade the host, we'd be a good show.
Yeah, that's why I say we're going to. I forgot to tell him that Hammond wants to